They're heeling, going back. But the New Zealander is trapped offside on the far side of that scrum. And Jarrett, is he going to have a go from there? My word, he is. From his own 10-yard line, virtually. Just a yard in front of it. This would be a tremendous kick, even with the breeze behind him. It's 55 yards straight to halfway. Another 10, of course, to the 10-yard line, say 8. 65, 73, and allow for the angle. 75 yards plus. The confidence of this remarkable young footballer. And who doubts that if he middles it, who doubts that he'll fail for length? Immensely strong in the thigh. It's, my goodness, it's not so far off. Tremaine. Oh, Tremaine missing his kick for touch, unlike a New Zealand forward that. One of the things about a side which does the basics and the essentials so magnificently is that all the forwards normally kick extremely well. Thorne at the line out, and Turner trying a drop goal. McCormick. Not very spectacular, but safe. Nearly half an hour gone in the first half. A penalty goal to both sides. And here comes Brian Price. Hit the referee there. He was waiting for an advantage, and he's got to have him scrubbing down. Drizzle has stopped. The wind keeping up behind the counties, and the All Blacks have it from the tight, pushing. They're getting a lot of weight in this shove now, holding it beautifully. Counties have to be very careful not to get offside. Scrum half got to keep back in the flank forwards. This is Paul Watts undergoing. And the referee not satisfied about it. Crowd thought it was all right. Here goes Lahore like a tank. Well checked by Brian Price. Going, having his kick charge down by Dennis Hughes. Arthur Hughes is there too. Paul Watts. Here goes Curtin, the fly half. Tackled by Ken Jones. Brian Price well out to the fly half. Grindle. That's a pretty useful kick by Grindle. McCormick going back for it. Might be in trouble. And he's caught. No, he's not. Yes, he is. 5 yards out. Now, can those counties forwards ruck it? They can. They've got it. Can they move it? Can they move it? Oh, yes, it's Ken Jones going through. Arthur Lewis. Grindle hacking on. Thorne caught with it. In they go again. Lahore has it. And it's back to going. And that's the most exciting play so far. Fine effort by the counties forwards. This is what their captain said before the match. They must get there first to the loose ball. And a penalty for an offence at the back of the line out, leaving the line out, I think, before the throw-in took place. With 10 minutes to go in the first half. And a little ironic, here's Keith Jarrett again, that on a day made for open football, neither side yet has managed to cross the other's line. But the way this counties side is playing at the moment, with plenty of confidence and fire up front, there could be a tremendous result here this afternoon. But the All Blacks' strength usually gathers momentum as the minutes tick away in the second half. So, on the 25-yard line, halfway in from touch. 6-3 to Monmouthshire. He's had 4 shots at goal, Keith Jarrett. 2 of them have come up trumps. 2 penalty goals to 1. The counties lead after half an hour's play. Bill Davis, the centre, giving it to McCormick. And it does a great thing to a side's morale when the noses are in front. Well-placed kick-off by McCormick. Jennings coming up underneath it. Here goes Little going, and there was a knock-on there, was there? Yes, there was, and it's the put-in by Glyn Turner. Straight back to the full-back. Midway between the 25 and the halfway line on the county's side. And what a side the New Zealanders have fielded in midweek, remembering past results here on this famous ground. 12 internationals, 7 of them up front, even without Colin Meads, who's sitting this one out in the stand. Under suspension, of course, for this match and the next. Steele for the All Blacks. And a penalty, yes, offside. They were closer than 10 yards from that line out in the county's midfield. And here's a gilt-edged chance for McCormick to square things off. Not quite dead centre. Fergie McCormick, as tough as they come, a really spirited attacker. And not a bad goal kicker, as his record proclaims. Not quite in the Don Clark mould in that respect. And a great job for his side on this short tour. He's got it, and that's 6 points all. 4 penalties, 2 apiece. About 7 minutes to go until half-time, plus injuries. Six all. Grindle kicking off for the Counties. The Evervale out half. Lahore. Caught by Wilkins, the hooker. Slipping it to Major, the New Zealand hooker. Back to going. An offence on the ground. Not releasing the ball after a tackle. Handling off the floor. And here's Jarrett in business yet again. Almost dead centre. 10-yard line. He could well get this, and it really would be a shame if this match was to be decided on such a day for open football by just penalty goals alone. The breeze keeping up right behind him. I don't suppose you'll have any problem with the length. Six all. 9-6, dead true. Three out of 5, and the last 3 all successful. Keith Jarrett from Newport. 9 points to 6. 3 penalty goals to 2 penalty goals. And yet again, the All Blacks are behind. And they won't forget the last time they played here against Newport. They lost by a drop goal. The Newport club, drop goal to 0. That looked to be a knock-on by Gareth Howells of Evervale, one of the county's props, a policeman. So going for the All Blacks. This has been very much a battle forward so far. Forwards, halves and full-backs. The ball hasn't been run down the line on either side. See if the All Blacks run it this time. McCormick was up in the line, and stout defence there by Ken Jones with his Sandy here. Here's Steele covering for McCormick. pursued by Arthur Lewis. Well, I said earlier that there were some stout defenders in the county's midfield, Ken Jones and Arthur Lewis, and Ken Jones went jolly well there. Can they pick up a rolling ball? But the whistle has gone. Referee not satisfied. It's Paul Watts of Newport going off, I think, for brief repairs. Number 6. And doing a great job for his side, number 8 there. Dennis Hughes of Newbridge, who captains his club as well. Sid Going, putting it in for the All Blacks. Curtin giving it to Cottrell and running into trouble in the shape of Arthur Lewis. And a penalty against the counties just outside the 25. Edwards, the fullback, under pressure, and doing pretty well, even though he sliced it, to get it safely into touch. Well, so far, the New Zealanders, when they have run the ball, have made no headway at all in midfield, thanks to a very stout defence by Monmouthshire. Just inside the Monmouthshire half. Knock on there, and an advantage being played by the referee. It's interesting that on the New Zealand throw, the ball came back on the county's side. 2 minutes to go until half-time, plus injuries, and steal again for the All Blacks. Hacked on by the fly half. Straight to Cottrell, the inside centre. The fullback safely getting it into touch. (9-6) in the last minutes of the first half. 5 penalty goals, the only scores so far. And Graham Thorne picked as a centre, a sensation in New Zealand trials, the thrower in. Very long pass out to Curtin. Cottrell, long pass out to Davis. Not an easy one to take. Cottrell again. Here goes Laurie Daniels. This is Thorne, Graham Thorne going back for it. And with a host of scarlet jerseys coming down on him, he did the only wise thing, put it straight back into touch. Well, this New Zealand backline is being hustled into errors. And there's no doubt that so far the evidence they can be beaten today for the first time on the tour. It's the captain, Dennis Hughes. Going and Laidlaw. How lucky the New Zealanders are to have 2 scrum halves of that quality. Penalty to the counties. And Gray asking the referee what it was for, a front row offence. And Jarrett, again, from a dozen yards out from the 25. It's now in injury time in the first half. I make this his 6th attempt at penalty points. Missed the first one from a long, long way out, the halfway line. Missed the second, which was a lot easier. Got the next 3. And this will be 35 to 40 yards, well within his compass. The old-fashioned method with the tip of the ball pointing towards the posts. He comes up dead straight. Settles down. Straight as an arrow, and the counties almost unbelievably lead New Zealand. The New Zealanders, I should say, this is not an international, by 12 points to 6. 4 penalty goals kicked by Keith Jarrett of Newport. The referee has decided that still some injury time to be played in this first half. The Cormick restarting. He's going, working around the blind side, keeping the ball in. Full-back under pressure again, Barry Edwards. It'll be a good mark if he gets it. And the referee has awarded the mark. Hasn't let his side down, Barry Edwards. He's been under a good deal of pressure. And there's a man laid out back on the Counties 10 yards line. Counties player. 42 minutes gone in this first half now. Number 2 there is Ken Gray, who stormed away from that line-out to make an All Blacks try at Murrayfield last Saturday. Lahore 13, Curtin 19. Not a genius, Curtin, but my word, he does the basics of the game so well. Solid and hard, and he runs straight, safe hands, quick transfer. Number 3, Gareth Howells. So after all that, it's Barry Edwards, the Ebervale fullback. The start and touch. Here goes Lahore, looking for support. McCormick up in the line. McCormick again. Good defence by the Counties. And an All Black laid out this time on the touchline. This is tremendous Counties defence. They've worked really hard with a great purpose, this Monmouthshire side, under their coach, David Harris of Newbridge, the Newbridge coach. And he must be rubbing his hands with delight and praying that they can somehow keep up this tremendous pressure. Anyway, the whistle has gone for half-time, with Monmouthshire leading the New Zealanders by 4 penalty goals to 2, 12 points to 6. And the whistle going for half-time, with the scoreboard showing Monmouthshire in front, 4 penalty goals to 2 penalty goals, 12 points to 6. Here we go then into the second half. Death or glory now for the Counties side. 6 from Ebervale, 4 from Newbridge, 3 from Newport, 1 Pontypool and 1 Abertillery. Keith Jarrett, a long one down towards the corner. McCormick under it. He hasn't found touch. Taken by the fullback Barry Edwards for Monmouthshire. And you can be absolutely sure that this is where the New Zealanders under Brian Lahore will rouse themselves for a tremendous second half effort. I'm sure he wasn't satisfied with the performance of his side in the first half. Better possession from the line out, and going missing out his fly half. Cottrell missing his kick. Here goes the scrum half, Turner. Turner kicking down towards the corner. It's going to bounce nicely for him. Must gain ground, I think. And McCormick having to run it into touch. Nailed by Keith Jarrett. Only a few yards out, about 10 yards out from the line. Now let's see whether Brian Price, who was jumping beautifully in the first half, can get some more clean possession. The tap back. And Turner coming in, linking up with his forwards and giving it to Walker Nathan. Who gets the ball from the ruck? It's out on the New Zealand side. Here goes McCormick up in the line, slipping it to Major, the hooker, up to the 10-yard line, and the whistle has gone for an infringement just out from the All Blacks 25. Must, I think, have been a forward pass. So Monmouthshire have the put in. Monmouthshire getting the strike, but a penalty against them. Front row in trouble, hooker, I think. Going, and up and under. Up comes Barry Edwards to take it. Oh, it's a very nasty one for him, and it bounces into touch. Just out from the 25. So Graham Thorne, the new wing for the All Blacks. Curtin. That'll be a nasty one to handle. Very well caught, beautifully fielded by the Ebbw Vale fullback Barry Edwards. A lovely catch on the run under some pressure, with the All Blacks steaming up on the port bow. Now will this be a long one to the back of the line out to Lahore? Could well be. It is indeed. Up he goes, followed by Dennis Hughes. Picked up by Jennings, slipped to going. And away come those counties forwards. Hacked on by Ken Jones, the centre. McCormick going back on the halfway line. And the whistle's gone. They've got to scrum it down dead centre, or very nearly dead centre. And a good attacking position this for the All Blacks, who can attack on either side. Lahore working around the blind side, giving it to Walker Nathan. Brushing off a tackle. There's rather slipshod defence here. Slipping it to Sam Strawn. Tremaine going, and he's clobbered to Curtin, coming around the blind side, running into Nathan, accidental offside, and the whistle has to go. Looked there for a moment as if Walker Nathan, this tremendous Maori forward, was going to shrug off some rather indeterminate counties tackling on the blind side. Counties' defence in the first half was tremendously fiery and spirited, notably so in midfield as well, whenever the All Blacks ran it to their centres. Paul Watts momentarily in trouble, the Newport flanker. Glenn Turner putting it into the counties. And a penalty for offside against the All Blacks, taken by Edwards. Yes, it's another good one. And it didn't look to be 5 yards. The referee was satisfied. Ken Gray with it here. Major piling in. Look at the way they slip it. Lovely picture of it. Tremaine going, looking for the open side break. Kicking back towards the corner. It's touch in goal and a drop out on the 25. Well, that was Laurie Daniels trying a sharp one underneath the All Black noses, just by the touchline. The referee has pulled them back for a scrum centre. May well have been a man in front. So the minutes are going by in the second half, and there's still 6 points the difference between these two teams. And Watts it is again in trouble. I think he's going to need some first aid. Well, much to the credit of this Monmouthshire pack here, with Brian Price leaping successfully at the line out, inspired by Dennis Hughes, their captain and pack leader, going like terriers into the ruck and not giving away a great deal in the open phases, being shoved a little bit in the tight, but not so far giving anything away on their own head. 6 minutes gone in the second half. Kelvin Tremaine 12, Lahore 13, who